Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Devil's Digest postgame show following Arizona State's 28-23 victory over number 14 BYU. Arizona State improves to 9-2 on the season. As always, my name is Justin Lester, so that's publisher Ho Urbino. And Ho, just like kind of every single home game we've seen from Arizona State, a white-knuckle win down to the wire, but they found a way to win nonetheless. And this is the first time Arizona State's finished undefeated at home since 2004. What did you see out of that performance?
Yeah, I think that some of the wins, Justin, over here were white-knuckle, really mixed in with some grit. This was a game actually that ASU was absolutely almost on cruise control, playing so well in the first half, absolutely dominating BYU. The second half was a different story altogether. But Arizona State, when it mattered the most, really was able to make the play. A huge interception by Javon Robinson there at the end made this a white-knuckle game, which also equals a white-knuckle win. I mean, what else can you say about this team, Justin? I pick him to go 6-6. I look like a fool. then when they're winning like 4 or 5 games, I'm saying, okay, maybe 8 wins is a ceiling of this team. And maybe, by the way, Kenny Dillingham is going to use all this video that you're seeing right now to motivate the team next week and the week after that. But it's just amazing how they just keep on exceeding expectations time and time again. This was not an easy opponent by any means. BYU may be surprised, I think, everybody how poorly they played it in the first half, but the second half, like I said, it really was a much different story. It's not something that is going to be maybe somewhat an unpleasant film session on both sides of the ball for the Sun Devils, but the bottom line is they win, they move on, and they are in the driver's seat for the Big 12 title game. Let me repeat that again. The team that was picked last in a 16-team conference by the Big 12 media preseason poll is in the driver's seat for the Big 12 title game. What a world.
And you mentioned it was sort of a tale of two halves, and offensively, Cam Scatterbu, 3 touchdowns in that first half and was really carrying a bulk of that load for Arizona State, but started slower in that second half, but eventually was able to come out on top.
Yeah, we talked about in our preview, Justin, that this BYU team is very opportunistic when it comes to the passing game. But in terms of the run defense, they're not the worst in the league, but it's definitely a unit that I expected ASU to find some success. How fitting is it for Cam Scatterbu playing his last game probably at Mount America Stadium? I mean, who knows if ASU gets into the playoffs? We might even see one more game over here. But nonetheless, Cam Scatterbu, an outstanding game. 28 carries, 147 yards, averaging over 5 yards a carry. Like you said, scoring 3 touchdowns. Second half, I really think the BYU, to your point, really was able to figure him out. But, Sam Levitt did just enough to really give ASU just a little more cushion. Levitt was 16 out of 25, 247 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 1 interception in the first half, which ended up really not costing ASU. But the big play that he had is his 61-yard pass for a touchdown to Xavier Guillory. We talk about all the time who's going to step up besides Jordan Tyson. Well, tonight, or today I should say, it really was Xavier Guillory. Jordan Tyson, by the way, wasn't exactly having an off game by any means. 9 receptions, 125 yards. But this offense, like I said, really did slow down in the second half. And that touchdown by Guillory I just mentioned a second ago, ultimately that was really the difference in the game. Now, obviously, we have to talk about the 4th down decisions by Kenny Dillingham. It is kind of head-scratching, I got to admit, that here you have a field goal kicker in Parker Lewis, which, okay, maybe you didn't have that much confidence in him up until last week. He did make a 47-yarder on the road at Kansas State last week. So to not give him an opportunity to kick a field goal in the red zone, much closer than a 47-yarder, that would give ASU just a little more breathing room, wouldn't need the heroics of a Javon Robinson, for example, in the end. That really is a head-scratcher. I know that you can talk every game, win or loss, about a lot of plays you'd like to take back. I don't know if this is a play that the coaching staff would or would not want to take back. Did it matter? No, it didn't matter. But I just wonder that if a situation like this arises against Arizona next week, or let alone in the postseason, what kind of approach Arizona State does take. In the end, it didn't matter. Another win for ASU. No such thing as an ugly victory. And this was a game which, as you suspected, was going to be all about the running game, all about Cam Scatterbu, and the senior delivers one more time for the umpteenth time.
Yeah, and in that first half, You had that tip pass by Prince Dorba, picked off by Jordan Crook, a couple turnovers on downs. Arizona State was able to limit BYU in that first half, but second half, the Cougars started to catch up a little bit, but it wasn't until that final, or one of the final drives of the game, Javen Robinson, game-sealing pick. What did you see out of ASU's defense?
Yeah, it's funny because when I was looking at the box score, I was thinking to myself, when's the last time ASU surrendered 20 points in the second half and still won? And then I remembered, oh yeah, it didn't happen not too long ago, about 2 months ago against Mississippi State. So that was the type of game that the ASU defense had. You have to give kudos to the BYU staff. I really thought that they had that ASU defense on its heels. I think coverage left a lot to be desired. I think pass rushing was really almost non-existent for the Sun Devils. Sure, you can look at the bottom line. Javen Robinson, an interception deep in the fourth quarter to seal the game. And then the pandemonium ensued a few minutes later. But it's a defense that was, I think, able to contain Jake Retzloff, who had a very lukewarm and maybe worse than that first half. But second half, I think he definitely played outstanding. And again, it really was a BYU team that wasn't able to run the ball all that well against the Sun Devils, but against the pass, but passing the ball, they really found a lot of success in the second half. So the defense definitely has some things to clean up, because I think the game against Arizona next week, you are facing even a more prolific passing attack that you faced today. So definitely some things to clean up.
Yeah, and Arizona State not only beats BYU, but Colorado loses to Kansas. So ASU is now firmly in the driver's seat to make the Big 12 championship. But something else to note, U of A lost to TCU, so really not much going for them in this final game, but who better to spoil the party than the Wildcats?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're thinking. They're definitely in a familiar position. For the older fans out there in the 80s, the Wildcats did that on more than one occasion, really ruining Arizona State's chances getting into the Rose Bowl. Now they have a chance to do that, ruining their chances getting into the Big 12 title game. Like you said, Justin, if ASU wins next week, doesn't matter what happens to Iowa State later today. Doesn't matter what happens with Iowa State, Colorado, and BYU next week. ASU wins. ASU is in. And if my math is right, not only are they in, but they're actually in as the number one seed, so to speak, the regular season champion for the Big 12. Again, just blows my mind to even say those words about a team that was picked last in the media preseason poll. So, this is a game that ASU is going to have to prepare mentally very, very well. Again, there's definitely things to clean up based on the second half performance. ASU has to do that effectively because U of A, this is overstating the obvious, this is their Super Bowl next week. They have no bowl game on the line. All they have at stake over here is ruining ASU's chances of making it to the Big 12 title game. So this is definitely going to be a much more interesting game than anybody thought just a couple months ago. But this is a team, Justin. You just really cannot count them out. They find ways to win, whether it's heroics in the second half or really just building such a big cushion in the first half that even they could not screw it up in the second half. I just really impressed with Arizona State stepping up to the plate. The buzz around this game, the sellout crowd, a huge BYU crowd, maybe not the 20,000 that I heard a couple of days ago, but they definitely came in force. Student section was off the chain. It really was a great environment, and I think the ASU players have to be proud of themselves that they're able to respond to that environment, not get caught up in the emotions, and just show their passion on the field in the second half, in the waning moments of the game, to come away with a precious victory.
Well, Hode, here we are, Arizona State 9-2 on the season, and as you just mentioned before, this is U of A's Super Bowl next week up in Tucson as the Sun Devils come to visit, and we'll be there for all the coverage. But to stay tuned on all the coverage following ASU football, go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devils Digest on Twitter at Devils Digest. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching.